Welcome to the Blackboard Time Machine, where we step back into the classrooms of the past. Today's lesson comes from 1950, when educational films often focused on social skills and personal development. Produced by Coronet Films, Developing Friendships explores how young people build friendships, the importance of kindness and cooperation, and the role of respect in healthy relationships. Let's step back in time and watch this lesson from yesterday.
Hey kids, there's the schedule.
Won't it great to have Joe back again?
Yeah.
Yep. 6 o'clock is right. We have 10 minutes to wait around.
Boy, this place sure is dead this time, boy. All this fuss just to meet Joe Watt. Say, whose idea was it anyway, to come down here and meet Joe?
Well, Marie ought to know. Bob had the idea first.
Say, Bob, couldn't Joe on an earlier train? Say, Bob.
Bob, what are you doing?
Oh, I was just thinking. Just thinking about Joe.
Well, don't fall asleep.
Joe. We've missed that guy this week. All of us. Joe certainly made himself a friend of this whole bunch. I knew all these kids before Joe came to town, but I never used to think of them as friends. They sure have changed since Joe's been around. Or have they? Maybe I'm the one who's changed, more than the others. Yes, maybe I've changed. Why, not many months ago, I remember I used to go home from school alone. That's the way I wanted it. Oh, the other kids were around, but I couldn't see much in them. They were all right, but not much to talk to or be with. It seemed more fun to think my own thoughts. Walk the way I wanted to walk. Do what I wanted to do. That's the way it used to be. Well, I guess things began to change after that first day Joe came out for basketball, a few days after he moved to town. The fellas were all talking about the baskets Joe had made. Of course he could shoot goals, but I couldn't see what there was to be excited about. And I thought, what a conceited guy. Seemed to me he thought he was pretty sharp. After all, they'd been saying I was the best player. Well, I could go my way. I didn't need him. But Joe seemed to want to be friends with everybody. I guess he could sense the way I felt.
It sure is a good team, Bob, and you fellas really work together. You know, I wouldn't have made half those shots if you hadn't been there, feeding the ball to me at the right time.
Gee, what he said made me wonder. Had I been too quick in judging him? I figured at least I ought to give him a chance. Wait and see what he was like. And then Joe started waiting around for me after practice to walk home. At first I didn't like it. Why didn't he butt in on someone else? But after all, his family had moved in just around the corner from my house, so it was natural for us to walk home together. And I began to see that he wasn't butting in. He wanted to be friendly. We were walking the same way and playing on the team together. We found things to talk about. It was as simple as that. Before long, I began to enjoy those walks from school. Then one day he asked me about a physics problem that was giving him trouble, and I offered to help. And you know, Joe didn't mind somebody being better in physics than he was. We worked it out together, and helping someone is one way you become friends. Before long, we were doing all sorts of things together. Hiking in Burns Woods. That was more fun with Joe than it had been alone. Hiking was a mutual interest. It was something we both enjoyed doing. And so Joe and I became friends. good friends. How did Joe make friends? With me, and with the rest of the bunch. What were his secrets? Why does everyone like Joe? Well, he seems so at ease and friendly with people. All kinds of people. Sincere and real, too. He takes people as they are. He finds pleasure in the achievements of others. I began to understand why Joe has friends. Because he is a friend. He didn't have to stand out in the gang. He didn't try to be a star. People like Joe because, well, because Joe likes people. I really learned that lesson when the committees for the class picnic were appointed. I'd still like to know who made up that list, because when I saw it, I thought, that sure was a funny entertainment committee. Joe Watson, chairman. That made sense. Then Ann Hillman and Bob McGraw. That's me. But Marie Jones. Who'd ever heard of her? She didn't belong in our crowd. What good would she be on the committee? Well, I found out when Joe got us all together for a committee meeting. I remembered who Marie was then. The quiet girl who lived on the other side of town. I'd noticed her a few times around school, but I'd never taken a second look. But Joe did. He seemed to think she had ideas, things to say. And she did. Marie made several good suggestions for entertainment for the picnic. But that didn't change my opinion of her. By the day of the picnic, Joe had gotten himself a car, and he asked Marie to ride with us. Marie. So I took a back seat. But from then on, Marie was part of the gang. Whatever we did, Marie was in on it. As far as Joe was concerned, and the others, she was our friend, and that was that. Hey, look at me! I guess I must have been a little jealous, or a snob. Anyway, I didn't want to be, well, Marie turned out to be swell. She's as much a part of the gang as any of us. The girl from the other side of town. The girl I thought didn't belong with our crowd. Why, she's the kind of a person anyone would be glad to have as a friend. And not only as a friend. Marie's all right as a date, too. Look at Eddie now. He's probably trying for a date. Oh, well, I don't need to worry. Yep, I'm sure glad Joe showed me how to be friends with everybody. Come to think of it, if it hadn't been for Marie, Joe might not have gone on this trip. It started that day when Ann saw the notice on the bulletin board.
Junior Citizenship Contest. Win a week's trip to the state capitol and an interview with the governor.
Hey, that's a good deal, huh?
Tell us more.
Well, it seems we're going to hold an election to choose our best citizen. All the other schools in the county will do the same. And then the winner at each school will submit a 1,000-word essay on citizenship. And the best essay wins.
That's great. Joe, do you want to try? Yeah, come on, Joe.
You can do it.
I'm not so good at writing essays and things.
Why not? Besides, you have the best chance of being elected.
Oh, thanks, Bob, but I don't think so.
Listen, are we all agreed that Joe is the logical candidate?
Sure, he's the one.
All right, let's draft him. We'll organize a campaign committee. And Bob, you work on Joe and get him to agree.
Well, Joe won the election. Everybody agreed he was one of the school's favorite citizens. But getting that essay written was something else. Writing sure is hard for old Joe. And so we pitched in, all of us, and helped him. There I was, the same guy who a few months before had been jealous of Joe's popularity. Well, friendship sure does change people. It brought out the best in me. It brought out the best in Joe. A winning essay. When Joe won the county contest, we all felt it was our victory, too. That was okay with Joe. He said he'd never have won without our help. And he let me use his car while he was away. We've sure missed him. All of us. Marie, Bill, Judy, Eddie. Well, maybe not Eddie. Glad he's here, though. I wasn't sure he'd come when I asked him the other day.
Listen, Eddie, a bunch of us are going down to meet Joe's train when he comes in Saturday. Do you want to come along?
That conceited guy? No thanks.
Well, listen, I felt that way once. But honest, Joe's such a good guy that after you really get to know him, you'll know he isn't conceited. Come on along Saturday. Joe will like you, and you'll like him.
Well, okay.
Swell. See you later.
Yeah.
Eddie's a right guy. A little on the cautious side. He'll learn. I did.
Eddie, Maureen, where is everybody? Hey, come on, here's the train!
I guess Joe's friendship turned out to be sort of infectious. From Joe, I learned how to be a friend and how to make friends. That one friendship often leads to others. And best of all, to appreciate and enjoy people of many varying backgrounds and personalities. Yes, sir, with friends, it's a great old world.
That concludes today's lesson from the classroom of yesterday. Thanks for watching the Blackboard Time Machine, where history and education meet on film. If you enjoy these vintage classroom films, please like, subscribe, and join us again as we continue bringing new lessons from the past to the present.